Welcome to the Kaiju Podcast. I'm Ralph.
I'm Jorge.
And today we're talking about Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire.
2024.
Right. I guess
So
the X is silent.
I heard the X is silent. It's to emphasize a collab.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I don't know.
Is that a thing?
Somewhere in the director saying like when two labels or two products or two people collaborate on something, sometimes it'll be this X this sometimes gets used. I don't know. It's nothing I never noticed, but if you say
it's always silent. I didn't know whether to leave it silent at the beginning or not.
I've been saying Godzilla X Kong the whole time. Sometimes I'll say Kong X Godzilla because I forget who's in front.
Yeah,
but
I think like King Kong versus Godzilla is the Toho movie.
Yeah,
and then they did Godzilla versus Kong for the last movie, which was kind of a nice bit. But now they're sticking with Godzilla first, which is fine. It's fine. I mean, I don't hate it because I think like it's known. Like I'm a big Godzilla fan, and you're kind of
but this movie is a Kong story.
It's 100%. Like I think, okay, so you didn't care for Godzilla versus Kong that much, and I feel like in that movie, Kong does not like beat Godzilla like at all. Like it feels like Godzilla always has the upper hand. I feel like in this movie they did a shift.
Yeah, but it's not based on who wins, whether I like a movie or not.
I know, but I feel like in this one, okay. So one of the things we talked about in King Kong versus Godzilla, the Toho one, is like Godzilla or King Kong was smart, right, and Godzilla had a pea brain,
right.
And I feel like that lines up more with this movie.
Clearly.
But maybe that's just because
it's clearly along the same lines where Kong has to use his more of his wits and his intuition.
Yeah. And Godzilla is very reactionary, which I loved.
Totally.
Which I loved because you always say, how come every time a kaiju comes up against another one, they just start fighting?
Yeah, right.
And it's explained in this one that it's like, that's just what Godzilla does.
That's Godzilla's job. Godzilla's job is to be king of the monsters on Earth.
Yeah. And Kong rules Hollow Earth. Okay, so can we do something real quick and just kind of get it out of the way?
Oh, go ahead.
Monarch, Legacy of the Monsters. I didn't really care for it. I feel like it could have been half the episodes. But one of the things, there's definitely stuff I liked in the show. There's a lot I didn't like. But, like, I kind of assumed, like, it would be a good primer for this movie. But it really wasn't.
No.
And one of the things I was wondering about, like, so these folks all hang out in all Hollow Earth like the whole movie. When they leave, is it going to be like 2049 or something?
Oh.
Like, does that whole thing,
that's a good point because it's interesting because like this movie kind of takes place in, is it near future? It's very much like
2029.
Okay. All right.
That's what I heard. I don't know why it's 2029, but I heard it's 2029.
I mean, there's enough things that are like, because it's like the present with some new technologies.
Right.
Basically.
Right.
Like the flying thing. What do they call that ship?
The little wasp.
Yeah.
It was the heave. It was the heave in the last one, the Hollow Earth aerial vehicle. And this one, I think it's called something else. I love that ship.
One of the toys I got recently came with a little mini version of that ship.
I like when it turned yellow. Like I thought it looked cool when it was like like bumblebee markings or Starship Trooper bugs.
Right.
Like
it is described as a redesigned heave. It is still a heave.
Okay.
I have Wikizilly opened up as well in case if we want to properly name some of these animals.
Yeah, that's the thing that sucks about seeing something new that has so many monsters in it is I don't remember the names.
Yeah.
But like right off the bat, like as soon as the movie started, we get introduced to Kong and we get introduced to Godzilla, and they're both gross. I'm like, this is like the juiciest kaiju fights ever.
This movie, I was like, is Nickelodeon one of the producers on this? Because there's a lot of slime.
Right.
So, okay, so the opening on Hollow Earth, Welcome to My World plays. By the way, the needle drops in this movie, especially. I mean, they really kick in when Trapper.
We call him Ace Trapper.
When Trapper gets in, and it's like it's a very very Guardians kind of soundtrack. I thought.
Yeah, I loved it. Like the Kiss song when they were putting the arm on, I was like, this is insane.
Yeah, and the
needle drops I love.
Yeah, turn me loose when that comes on. Oh, that's great. All right, so yeah, we see Kong. Kong's gray. He looks old. He's got a different shape of a beard, and he's being chased by a pack. He's being chased by a pack. How would you describe? What would you call them?
I think I wanted to call him Ralph, because I think Ralph is the wolf in.
Okay. Yeah.
But I was like, I think there's a name for him, and again, I haven't looked it up.
I looked it up, but I was trying to write. Are these zombie wolves? And I was like, zombie weasel wolves. It's like all the bad guy animals in this movie. Everyone had cloudy eyes, which made them look like they were undead. They on the listing they call them wart dogs.
Okay, so that part where it just opens with Kong being chased by these things, it's awesome. And then he like lures him into that canyon where
he's acting. Traps. He acts. He comes out to the edge of the cage like, oh dear, oh no, what's gonna happen? I guess I'm gonna have to fight these guys. And then they fall through his trap, and then he triggers more, and
he tears the one in half.
Tears it in half, and
above his head though.
Nothing has green blood in this place. It's just a big green slime. I kind of like the look of a green Kong, by the way.
Look, it reminds me of War of the Gargantuas.
Yeah, it totally does. But he does it on purpose. But then he's like, "Oh, great! Now look at me."
Yeah, that's just 100% like the director. Like Kong has no motivation to do that. It's just to be gross.
Yeah,
and it's still great because we get another like the waterfall shower thing.
It reminded me there was when Damon did the Hulk Wolverine. He did a run of a Hulk Wolverine comic, and I think it was like in issue 1, the Hulk basically does that. He rips Wolverine in half, and then Wolverine has to rebuild from that.
Oh, that's awesome. I haven't read that. But yeah, maybe it's shampoo. Maybe it's Prel.
Gross.
So it's like that's why I did it before showering.
And Kong is sad.
Again,
but Kong at least eats what he kills, for one thing.
Yeah, and then Doug shows up. You know about Doug? Yeah. I think it's now like officially, I think on the toys, that creature is now known as Doug.
Doug, really?
Yeah, he pops up in Godzilla versus Kong as kind of like a foreground gag, like during like the sweeping shots.
I thought he was in Skull Island.
No, I think he's in Godzilla versus Kong, and then the internet dubbed him as Doug, which Adam Wingard took a shine to, and I guess Adam Wingard's like, I'm going to put that guy in every movie I do, and so he's been named Doug, and it might be on one of the toys, the blind bag figure that I got.
There he is, Titan Doug.
But he's Doug, and he steals the wolf leg and eats the wolf leg. But now, Kong is sad, right? So Kong is sad because it's the same story since Skull Island and since like 1933 is Kong he's the last one. He's the only one. Like
Right.
there's that cave of bones, I think, in 33 Kong.
Yeah.
And then like Son of Kong dies, but whatever. So that's the storyline where we're picking up is Kong is now in Hollow Earth, but he's still alone and doesn't have any other Kongs to hang out with. And
Yeah, and we learned that he's been searching. Like, I mean, I guess we find out a little bit later than that, but yes, he hears a sound.
I love this so much. As soon as this happened, I was like, this movie. I don't know if it's my favorite. I think I have a favorite part.
Okay,
but this parrot frog, which you're calling a parrot frog,
yeah,
it's like a really.
I called him a
frogfish
when I first saw him.
I only know it's parrot frog because I was looking at the blind bag package and I was trying to get him, and so I was trying to feel like for the lightest bag.
Yeah,
I would assume he's small. Ended up getting the you probably Shima.
Shimu.
No, the babe Shika.
Soku.
But that little dumb frog.
I was just thinking because like when I was texting you about the movie and I Suko. And it was like I was trying to talk about Mothra, and it corrected to Martha, and I just started laughing about the idea of like that to just like purposely like say the names wrong. Like, oh yeah, this movie features Martha and Shamu for the White Dragon, Shamu.
It's tough. I got that little guy, and I can't wait to talk about what may be my favorite moment. But so this parrot frog shows up, and it made me laugh. I'm like, okay, this feels like episode 1. It feels like the Phantom Menace or something, like really weird CG creatures and like jokes. And I was like, okay, listen, we just came off of Godzilla -1, which was amazing and made our top 5. And it's like an amazing drama. And I was afraid, like the whole time in the months between Godzilla -1 and this, I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, seriously, like you can't just put out another one of these legendary ones and just be like, okay, that's fine. Like it was such a high watermark. And so the fact that they put this, it's
well, you gotta like I treat them as two separate things going on at the same time. Like,
right.
It's like two separate timelines.
Right. But after seeing that parrot frog, it made me be like, it's okay. You can have this too. Like you can have the 1954 Godzilla. But you can also have Godzilla versus Megalon, which is like this movie felt like the Monsterverse version of like a Godzilla versus Megalon, where we at one point I'm like, wait a second, are we getting Seatopians? I was like, oh my god. So
it was not on that level of ridiculous. No way.
No, but it was one of those things where I saw the parrot frog and I'm like, oh, I can just, you know what? I have my popcorn. Yeah, I'm gonna have a great time.
It was
I was able to kind of just let go and be like, listen, dude, they don't have to be. I like none of them are Godzilla -1. Which is what makes Godzilla -1 great, is it's like this anomaly. Like they're able to make an actually like really good drama out of a kaiju movie. Which is probably like the first time since 54. So I'm like, what am I even doing here? Like, yes, just have fun. There's a parrot that can mimic Kong's voice. And I'm like, all right, great. And then they cut to Godzilla, who is sleeping in the Coliseum like a cat in a little bed. Like you have dogs and they sleep.
No way.
They have a bed like that.
He starts by bursting out of the water. There's a few times where he bursts out of the water, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Because he's got to fight the squid spider, and
because it's there.
Right. It's
because it showed up.
It's in Rome, and this guy is called Scylla.
Yeah, I guess he shows up in the background of, I think, King of the Monsters, and he's also in the comics, which I haven't read, but I might start reading those comics. Those Godzilla legendary comics.
There's a Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah, I haven't read it.
Wow.
There's
Okay,
pictures
so
of
that's
the
in
Green
Rome.
Lanterns fighting Godzilla.
And so this is another slime time when Godzilla takes care of him pretty. I mean, they do a bit of a fighting. Oh, it's great. He knocks him into like they're destroying. There's so many like ancient landmarks that get destroyed in this movie.
Yeah.
He knocks him into like maybe it's the Pantheon because you see columns and stuff just getting destroyed and then he charges up, blasts them. There's yellow slime everywhere.
Everywhere. Which
And
I also
then
like.
and then Godzilla goes and lays down in the Coliseum.
Which was probably my favorite thing in the movie. And it's not just because he goes like it's nice because it's convenient and he's in Rome.
It's because you own cats.
Yeah, but they don't sleep in there, so it just sits there. So maybe I was just excited that Kong's or Godzilla's using it.
Then he just decides like this is where I'm going to be chilling.
Right.
Well, the best is like that he goes back there at the end.
Yes, that's the best part. Is he's like remembered. Oh, that place was really comfortable.
That's my spot. This is where I live now.
Yeah, and I want like you can picture like Monarch like building up like a facility around it, but it's like just leave them.
And they talk about the Italians are complaining about it and all kinds of stuff. And
do we get the title after that? We get Godzilla or we get Kong, then Godzilla, and then the title?
We get the title after the Kong segment with the lecture. And the credits are over the lecture talking about Kong and everything. And then that leads to like her doing some kind of interview on TV. And they talk about Godzilla. And that we get the Godzilla bit.
Right.
I'm telling you, I'm pretty thorough with a lot of these notes.
Well, here's the thing. So the listeners know I saw the movie once.
And I saw it twice.
You saw it twice. Now, let me ask you, did you watch the trailers before it came out? You tend not to.
This one I watched more because I was already kind of writing this movie off a little bit.
Right. I was writing
because we're like, is this a buddy cop movie? Yeah. Is Kong going to be getting too old for this shit? Because this is what it was feeling like.
Right.
Yeah, you saw it first. I saw it Tuesday, and then I got off work early yesterday and was like, I'm going to sneak in another showing so that I'm ready to talk about it.
Okay, so this is my question. Did you do it purely for doing the show, or were you excited to see it? Were you excited to see it?
No, I did it for the show. I was contemplating maybe I don't need to do it for the show, but I says I'm gonna do it for the show, and I liked it more the second go.
Oh, great!
Because I already knew it was gonna happen, so then I could kind of like lean back and be like, and take in the whole of it, and because like I wasn't gonna get surprised by anything, so I was like, oh, and then you started looking into finer details.
Yeah, like stuff that's off to the sides or in the background.
Yeah.
I really want to see it again real bad. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was probably I feel bad saying it, but I keep saying like it's really stupid. It's a really stupid movie. And I'm not a fan of people who say like, oh, you just shut your brain off and you'll have a good time. Like, I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff.
No.
But I was like,
I mean,
like the way I enjoy like maybe a wrestling match, or the way I enjoy like
a Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, where it was just like they understand what they're making, and they know they're not making Godzilla -1.
Yeah, they're fans of these kind of. You could feel it, and it's like there's like people like, hey, let's chit chat more monsters, and that's what we got for sure.
Right. The humans again don't matter really in these movies. These like legendary ones. To the point where like certain characters, it's almost like a character can never be in 3 movies. They can only make it to 2 movies. And so like Alexander Skarsgård, who was in the last one, is just not in this one.
Right.
And Millie Bobby Brown is just not in this one.
Right.
But Brian Tyree this is his second one, so he might not be in the next one.
Okay.
And Rebecca Hall and the daughter may not be in the next one. It's really funny how they just Millie Bobby Brown's in 2, and Hal Chandler's in 2.
Yeah, but I think Chia definitely has such a stronger role
Right.
to
When it comes to
play
Kong.
in the overall mythology
Yeah.
that her chances
I
of
was
sticking around are good.
You know what was kind of bumming me out? As soon as Mothra was brought up, this is jumping ahead. As soon as Mothra was brought up and they were very excited about her showing up, I was like, is there going to be another, like a twin of her down there already? Summon Mothra. And
Whoa!
it didn't happen, and I was so bummed. But
Whoa!
it felt like it was right there, because in King of the Monsters there were twins. We just didn't see them together. Like one was working with Brooks and one was working with the
Right,
main
right,
villain.
right, 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 right,
But I was
right.
just like, or like when she summoned Mothra, maybe her consciousness like splits into two. I was like, how are they not doing the twins?
Whoa! Like each. Oh, that'd be weird. Like if the Iwi tribe had like a counter member,
Yeah,
and that each one.
like they could only wake up Mothra if they're
But
both together.
again, by the way, the Iwi,
Yeah,
the whole Iwi people is the best that any kind of ancient civilization or
made.
indigenous
Yeah.
people has been handled ever, for sure.
But they
Still.
also are kind of making the Iwi as if they're like these interdimensional tribe. And in Skull Island, John C. Reilly says, "Oh, they don't talk." And then
Right.
now they're just like, "Okay, how are we gonna retroactively make that
We
work?"
don't need to
Oh, they're
talk. Right.
telepathic.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, sure. Like this movie's nuts, dude. I didn't know. Like after I saw it, I had sent you a text, and I was like, I have a lot of thoughts,
Yeah.
because the suspension of disbelief, like these things are turning into fantasy movies,
Yeah.
like with the iwi and the gravity and the anti-gravity and
Right. And you
the
need
way Mothra.
that's the other thing. You need Brian Tyler Henry to explain stuff to us.
Yeah, and the speculation is always like just
He's
to
like,
let the audience know,
"Oh,
okay,
EV technology. Yeah, you pour the red paint in the liquid metal and it does something
yeah,
like that."
I love it.
Um,
I The fact that most of the plot doesn't revolve around the humans is crazy. The fact that the plot revolves around Kong and there is no one to explain what he's doing.
yeah.
Like they do some explaining, but so Kong like finds a place,
There's
which
something Kong has an intuition or some kind of instinct that he knows what he's supposed to do somehow is interesting. Like
well,
just because he senses it. Okay, so the ground opens up. This is when the next thing we do is we see Gia. We see her trying to adjust to going to school.
oh yeah,
And then she has the vision. There's a moment when like the feathers are dropping in the classroom, and I was like, "Did something happen? Like, was there suddenly a kaiju pillow fight?" Or so? Then I go, Are these actually? Because like you see them landing on the students, but then
yeah,
after she comes out of the vision, you realize, oh no, this was all made up.
right,
And then you have this whole bit with Rebecca Hall and her teachers and the things she's drawing and all this kind of business like this. And then out of nowhere, a Volkswagen commercial where there's this glamour shot of the Volkswagen that they're getting into. And then we go back to the movie.
yeah, yeah. But I liked her story. I like the visions were interesting. It is silly that they just did like these like triangular seismic
Yeah.
events, and she's seeing it as well. When the feathers were dropping, we see those feathers in Hollow Earth when they approach the Iwi
Yeah,
tribe.
exactly. Right,
Is it
right.
Mothra? Is it like off of Mothra? Is it like
I don't know. I think I don't
Mothra
know if it's
flute?
necessarily that, but yeah. There's a quick little spot on Hollow Earth when because like the ground opens up, and then there's like this. Now, getting seeing it a second time, I could pay attention to the shot on
Foreshadowing?
the camera, the security footage,
Okay.
because when I first saw, I just remember seeing the eye, and then when Rebecca Hall's character sees the eye, she's like, "It's definitely an ape," and I'm like, "You get that from the eye?" but you see an ape foot come down first.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, so now that makes sense. Because at first I thought that was going to be Shimu, because all I knew about was, I knew there was Scar King. I knew there was a Shimu just based on the toys.
Toys, yeah.
And so I thought it was going to be Shimu, but then they said it's an ape. I go, so I guess not. But we find Gia with the Kong doll. And by the way, I was thinking this, why isn't there more Kong doll merch?
I think I brought that up the last movie when
we
I
wanted
said, well,
we wanted them to make a Kong doll like that.
Yeah.
And I went
if
looking
you go
up
to Etsy. Oh, did you look it up?
I went looking up for Kong doll merch. The only thing there's a blind box that has the Kong doll as one of the things in the what are they, those bag clips things.
That was the set I got. So was the Kong doll one of the outline mystery ones?
I thought it was from the previous movie where the Kong doll showed up. I think it was an older set.
Oh, I feel like it could be replicated, and I bet you somebody on Etsy.
Yeah, I bet they could. The Kong doll bag clips are from Godzilla versus Kong. Yeah, this is from the earlier movie.
Okay.
And speaking of merch, because then we get Bernie's place where he's podcasting, and his place is full of Godzilla merch from like earlier movies.
Yeah. It's kind of easy. I like that. I don't know if you saw Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, but in the movie, there's a TV that shows like Kenner toy commercials for Ghostbusters toys. So that they made the toy, like Ghostbusters are so popular, they made toys in the 80s.
Okay.
And so I like that. I like that the kaiju are so popular in this real life world that they're people making toys.
That reminded me, it was like there was like the same year that the I think it was when the Matthew Broderick Godzilla movie came out, that there was like one of the disaster movies that came out during that time. Like
it was Armageddon.
I think it was Armageddon, where like the dog attacks the Godzilla toy.
Yeah, it was their kind of doing a pissing contest thing.
Yeah.
But there was a Godzilla movie we watched. It's from the 70s. I don't remember which one. I don't think it was Megalon, where there's the kid that had all those Godzilla toys out.
Yeah, in the slide.
Slide.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, why wouldn't they have toys? But it does seem strange since it's like natural disaster toys. It's very, there's not like a San Francisco earthquake playset. So,
Bernie references a character Ghidorah Stan 64.
64
is a troll.
That's great. Ghidorah, the first appearance of Ghidorah, the movie Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, came out in 1964. So it's like inside stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
And then did you notice the kaiju poster in his
Yeah,
studio?
what is that? What was it?
So it's the same one that's in Ford's room in the 2014 in the Gareth Edwards. In his room, he had a.
So it's not a real movie. It's like a fake movie because it's not in English. It's like I was trying every time you get a glimpse, trying to figure out who the monsters are.
It kind of looks like a Muto, but it's not. But it's that same poster. So within this world that was created in 2013 or 14 and has now become this thing. Yeah, that's still a movie that exists in that world. Did you look at all his pins?
No.
I was trying to look at all his pins to see if there was anything. I didn't. There was regular pins.
You're more the pin
I'm sure
guy.
There's Easter eggs.
Maybe. So then Godzilla wakes up, gets out of the Coliseum, and kind of takes a little piece of it when it's trying to step over it. How long were you trying to figure out what Gia's shirt said?
What did it say?
It says juice. It's just written in a way that juice. It says juice.
And it's like it's a white.
Because it's written in a way that's like where you start trying to remember wait, what's the kanji way that they write Godzilla? What are you trying to figure out? Is that and then you go, oh wait, no, that's letters. That's juice. It says juice. Okay, got it.
But what is it? Is it a reference to something?
I think it's just like I think it's the opposite. I think it's a non-reference graphic tee. It's like something that they don't have to clear. I was like, oh,
It was such a specific design.
I want a good shot of it because I kind of want to be like, I want to make a juice shirt.
Yeah, I try to figure out what it was, and I thought it was weird, but also like, yeah, I like in-world stuff, like Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy wears like a graphic tee that's not really thing.
Yeah, right.
It's like a shirt. It's like a nerd shirt you could wear and get away with, like people not knowing. Like if I walked around with a juice shirt, people would say, "Oh, look at that Godzilla fan," you know?
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's a really deep cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Because King Kong comes in onto the Earth. I think. Oh, that's what wakes up Godzilla. Because King Kong shows up, or something, or at least we think so, maybe. Because
King Kong shows up because
he's hurt.
He's got a busted tooth, and they all know that there's a timeline. Like, okay, Kong's coming up. Can we fix his tooth before Godzilla figures out that someone's on?
That he's here. Right. Yeah. Oh, like what's he doing here? Oh, damn. Oh, he's got a bad tooth.
I love that he's so aware of any kaiju that's on Earth.
Yeah, he feels it in his bones.
Like
he's like, I'm gonna have to mess somebody up.
And these guys have been monitoring Godzilla so much that they understand, like there's a ticking timeline, which was kind of great. We get Trapper, right? Trapper. Yeah, Trapper.
My favorite piece of trivia from when I was like looking at it is that the character of Trapper's look is inspired by the G.I. Joe character Chuckles.
Totally. Hawaiian shirt, jeans. But I mean, they do make a Ace Ventura reference, which makes sense for his character. But I mean, I guess he's not a pet detective, he's a pet doctor. Oh yeah,
I had to look up. Yeah, I was like Chuckles, because I was like, I don't know Chuckles. And so Chuckles is a toy and appeared in some comics. Didn't seem that he made I don't think he made any of the animated stuff.
It sounds like he's a deep cut character, because I'm looking at Jay Glatfelter's toy website, and they made a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Chuckles figure.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, so it's not something that they would mass produce.
Was that last year?
But looking at it, this is 2000.
The card, the card on it, the card that came with the toy, you go, oh yeah, that totally looks like him.
Yeah. I really liked him.
I love him.
I really liked him. I thought he brought a lot of fun to it.
And it's like when he comes in, this is really where the needle drops really start to shine.
Because it sounds like he's playing them in his ship, like he's got a playlist.
Yeah, he's got that boombox there.
Yeah,
and so he's totally doing it. And
then when he comes in on that ship, it's real funky looking. It's like a construction thing with the hook. I'm like, oh, that looks like the glove.
It does.
Like it looks like they repurposed this ship to make the gauntlet. And I'm like, okay, so they're setting that up.
No, it's like that's like a cargo ship. It's like something to carry stuff with.
Yeah. But it was like yellow, and it had kind of like things on the side, and it was
to grab things.
But for me, who's seeing the promotional stuff, I'm like, okay, at least this is helping me get used to what's coming.
Oh, I see. The paint job, like it's part of that same department that does
it's like a construction.
All the glove stuff, all that stuff is yellow. Gotcha. Yeah.
Because there was a point in the marketing where you see Dan Stevens hanging from that ship, and I thought, before seeing the movie,
he was holding onto the glove.
He was hanging onto the glove the whole time.
Ah, okay.
Which would have been amazing, but that's fine.
It's also reminiscent of King Kong Lives, like when he got the heart transplant. That the notion, like humans, we decide that we are going to take care of Kong.
That was my favorite part of that movie, and I immediately thought of that when they said that we're going to do the operation.
Yeah.
What did you think of the silver tooth?
It was cool looking. I like how it had like ridges on it that it looked like it was like 3D printed.
Mm-hmm. It's like it's crazy alloy that's
he got used to it really fast.
He can still like bite, so he can still bite things.
And how later, like when Scar King looks at it and he laughs and makes everyone else laugh at it.
Yeah, and then Kong knocks his Scar King's tooth out.
Right,
And
there's
then laughs at him.
twice. There's a
Oh,
tooth
good.
yank. There are two tooth yankings in this movie. Like, yeah, you see the tooth go flying and go landing somewhere.
Which we
Lots
never
of
see.
no
I'm surprised this is the first time we've seen a giant kaiju tooth
a
get
tooth
knocked
come
out. Like,
out.
there's so many brawls. Every movie, there's a brawl. You never see like parts. You never see Godzilla break a nail and it just sitting in the street.
Right. There's a lot of shots of Kong worried and Gia worried. Gia spends most of this movie worried about
Yeah.
Kong and everything.
Just,
And we get Mikhail. Mikhail.
yeah.
When I first heard it, I thought it was Miguel, but it's not Miguel. Clearly, they're gonna go down to Hollow Earth with Kong. By the way, I think they follow Kong real closely. It was like let Kong go down first, give it a minute, and then go. It's like treat it like one of those big slides at like a slide park that would just go straight through. When you see Mikhail, I immediately go, "Who's this guy?" Which is great considering his fate.
Yes. And I liked him. I was enjoying him. And he was kind of a jerk. But as soon as he started going off on the crew, like in Hollow Earth, I'm like, here it comes. And
it's even better than that because I don't know if you caught it, but once they got to Hollow Earth and the mosquitoes, he goes, I'm getting eaten alive here or something like that.
Oh, that's great.
But first, okay, so they're all wearing flight suits. But
I want one.
They get to there's the one piece and there's the men wear two piece, but the different characters can still add their flair. So like he puts the vest over it, or he has it like open with the Hawaiian. Or Travis got the Hawaiian shirt underneath and stuff. So it's like it's still the flight suit, but each one can still use their own personality to flare it up.
Yeah. I want a Monarch jacket or something.
And then
I really like those.
And then clearly, like everyone got to do now you do your going through the wormhole face or reaction of just the close up of their face being like wah, wah, or whatever that is. Everyone had to everyone had to do one of those.
Brian Tyree Henry's was great because he was kind of the fish out of water. He was really.
Oh yeah, he did his hand. He's looking at his hand. He says, "My hand is something." And also, I liked how the thumbs up thing, and then he switches it to the thumbs down. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. It was exciting. Like from the jump, like this movie, I was just like, man, it's just fun. And I don't know why it's more fun than the last movie, because I definitely like this one more.
Yeah,
but it's just maybe it's the group of people. They're just I don't know. They were really fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
It reminded me of Star Wars, seeing him in that ship in the heave, all together sitting. Yeah, or like aliens, in the drop ship, like where Hicks is like sleeping during it, and
right.
Yeah, like I like that stuff.
They come through. Everyone okay? Andrew says never better. After you see the torture of whatever of going through it is, she says never better. And then we get the first time we see the verticines. They're like birds that have shark fins.
Yeah, they're the yellow and black ones, right?
Yeah.
I like those designs.
Or yellow and blue.
So many monsters. I love this. So many monsters in this.
The colors are really cool in the Hollow Earth stuff. Did you notice how you can see the cliffs? The cliffs were like rainbow colored. There'd be streaks of all kinds of colors in the different cliffs.
Iridescent.
Really cool looking.
Yeah, I think I liked Hollow Earth more in this one than the previous movie. Definitely more than the show. Scope is bigger. The only thing that confused me was, so there's the ground, and then the ceiling is also another ground that's above.
Right.
But then Kong goes underground to the subterranean one.
To the hollower Earth.
Yeah. And so I'm like, there's an up and down, but now there's a more extreme down.
And I was like, what is the source of light? Because there's no sun down there.
Well, I don't. it's like a different dimension, right? That's within Earth. Like, is that how it
I don't
is?
know.
Because they're going through
I don't
portals.
know. I don't know if we should go this deep into trying
Because
to
it's portals. They're going
explain
through
it.
portals. Yeah, because I just assumed after like Kong Skull Island, the Hollow Earth was just like, oh, there's a series of tunnels through the Earth,
Yeah, you
like
thought
you
it was
dig a
like
hole to
Journey to the
China.
Center of the Earth, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Big
So I don't.
crystals. Yeah, we get that. And
Yeah, yeah. But it's like I think it's a different dimension. It's weird.
it's weird.
It's weird, and I think we're supposed to figure that out in Monarch Legacy of Monsters. But I think
What?
I think my eyes were rolling too much for me to know to see anything going on screen. But in the last one, like the reason they took Kong on the aircraft carrier to Antarctica was to drop him in the hole because they have radioactive energy and it's enough to open up the portals long enough for them to take the ships down in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I feel like it's a different dimension. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But so if it's a different dimension, then it's just like its own sun. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't know what it is. But they did show like the globe in the office with a littler globe inside of it. So it's in the Earth.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay.
So
Yeah,
I
right.
don't know.
It is. It's the center of the Earth somehow. The hollow Earth. But then there's another, even other hollow Earth
Subterranean.
after that they
Yeah.
haven't even ever discovered. No one's ever gone in there.
So can we talk about
Okay. Godzilla.
Chico?
What? No. Hold on,
We
not
haven't
yet.
gotten there yet?
We got it.
Okay.
No, we're not there yet. Godzilla goes to France and finds a nuclear power plant and just starts sucking up the nuclear power.
Love it. It's one of my favorite things in the Monsterverse.
This I love this. This is a great Godzilla sequence, this whole section here.
Yeah.
The jets come flying at him and they start shooting at him. That looks super cool too.
Yeah.
And then he lets out this huge like atomic burst just throughout his whole body. And then he's like lit up in a way where like all like the cracks in his skin are now glowing from this blue glow.
Yeah. A
Love
little
it.
bit like Shin.
Yeah.
Like
where
we've seen
it feels like he's
Godzilla
cracking
radiation.
open a little bit.
We've seen Godzilla radiation. It reminds me of the King Kong versus Godzilla, where King Kong would pull power from electricity.
Yes.
Godzilla's going around just like scarfing up radiation.
Right.
Apex lured Godzilla to a radiation plant in the last movie. So we know he eats radiation, but to see him actually like sucking it up and becoming brighter was exciting. And then that becomes like Godzilla's main story is like, hey, I think something big's coming. I got to start going around and getting as much energy.
I need to get stronger.
Yeah.
Right. So the last time when we saw Kong find the cave with the throne and stuff, and I had called that the Fortress of Solitude. But then he goes into this hole, and this one's really a Fortress of Solitude because there's all the like the glowy crystal stuff all over the place. And
This, all of this stuff when he goes down in there is great.
he and then he hears ape sounds and walks out into hollower earth, and then finds more apes.
Well, yeah. So he sees the I already keep forgetting. Soku. Suko. I'll remember.
Suko. I think it's Suko.
So I saw the trailer, so I knew it wasn't a giant ape. I knew it was a little ape.
At first in the trailer, I thought maybe the cute little red ape was going to grow up to become the bad red ape.
Oh, Scar King.
But I'm wrong. Suko. Definitely Suko.
Okay, and then I thought in the trailer that they were just introducing a cutesy character like a Baby Yoda type to sell toys.
Right.
And I was like, great. We're going to deal with like a Minya or Son of Kong, like a goofy, cuddly thing.
He kind of gave off more of a Gollum Smeagol energy.
That's what Stevie said. She's like, when he was walking across those bones, especially, Like you felt like Gollum.
And the way he was always conflicted. He's like, no, I don't want that.
Shuko?
Soku.
Soku.
Hold on, Suko. I need to post it. Suko.
Danny
I need to post it of his name up on my screen so I had to keep it.
So it wasn't treated like a cute character. It was treated like a little shithead.
Okay. And so okay, the ape fight. This is a great ape fight. I love this ape fight a lot. Okay.
This is one of my favorite parts.
I know what it is. I know what it is. Hold on, before we get there. First, okay, the tough. Okay, there's 3 tough apes. 2 of them are generic red painted apes, and then there's the one that's bald. And he does this thing when he's about to fight. He does that kind of thing like you see some tough guys when they do this fight. They kind of do this thing with their neck. They kind of like do this neck stretch thing, and then the fight starts. And then, you're right. Oh, first there's Suko, and he's trying to like talk to him, trying to get him to, and then Suko ends up leading him to the other apes when he bites his finger and stuff. Okay, go ahead. Your favorite part. Go ahead. You can talk.
You can say it.
Is it when he uses Suko as a club and swings around and hits the other apes with him?
The Suko nunchucks, dude. That's when I was like, oh, so it's not a baby.
Oh, this is dumb. That's when I go, oh, this is ridiculous. This is like that thing when Hulk did that to Loki in one of the Avengers movies. It's like that. It's like full cartoon style violence.
It was at that point where I'm like, okay, there's nothing serious about this. They're not even being precious about the treatment of this child ape. Like it's like this is a
Is it even a child? Yeah.
Oh, is Suko not a child? Do you think?
I'm assuming he is. I'm assuming he is.
Yeah.
But it's like there's nothing precious about it. No one's treating it like a baby.
I sat up in my seat and I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that before. Like we've seen Godzilla pick people up and swing them around and throw stuff. We've never seen a kaiju pick up a smaller kaiju and use them as a weapon.
And hit him with someone else.
Yeah, like a little billy club.
And then there's also the gray where Kong, non-King.
You want to get it. Yeah.
When civilian Kong knocks Godzilla off the cliff and then catches him and brings him back up.
Like, and you think, like, this is the moment where they trust him.
It's just like it shows you how Kong is an ape of honor and integrity.
We'll tell at the Suko's leg,
and then and then that ape reaches for the knife, and so he is, oh great, now I got to kick you out the cliff, and knocks him off.
I think Kong gets the knife. Kong with a knife is pretty fun. He has an axe.
Yeah, so I didn't. So I was like, when I didn't know I was going to watch it again, I was trying to read synopsis to kind of remind myself to take notes and trigger memories. And so Kong offers the knife to Suko.
Right.
And Suko doesn't want anything to do with the knife. So Kong drops the knife and picks up his axe, which is his thing, and then takes off.
I still like that axe. I still like it. I think it's cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, then is when Mikhail gets eaten by the tree. It's getting eaten alive out here. It was such a great line. Now knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Then the
it's
tree.
The deep blue sea. It's the deep blue sea speech where he's really being mean.
Yeah, I don't like your stupid technology. Blah blah blah. But it doesn't. No, it's his technology. I have your instincts. I trust my whatever thing to your goofy instincts or whatever.
And that tree is just sitting behind him the whole time.
It's just
so. Well, like the second time,
now that when you know he's gonna get eaten for it, you're like, come on, move a little bit to your left, get into position because we know you're gonna get chewed by this tree. Come on, get over there. The trees can't reach. Oh, there it is.
I love that Brian Tyree Henry is really knowledgeable about all things kaiju, but he's still not prepared for what they do, and his sort of trying to process the tree eating Mikhail was very fun.
Yeah, and his character is all about has been all his information is mainly based on speculation, like just theories that are haven't been proven. It's just based on the little piece of evidence and information and clues that he gets that the whole society of people who are like trying to figure out what's going on, all the conspiracy theorists of this group that his podcast goes out to, his whole audience, that's all kind of based on those type of like speculations. And then sure enough, like the same way, like he refers to the station as the mess. Go down to the mess. The what? He's like the mess, the whatever that acronym would be. And he's like, she's like, no one calls it that.
The Monarch something.
Down to station. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then we had Godzilla going up to Tiamat's.
Yeah. So okay,
domain.
Again a little bit of disappointment here for me, because here you have a kaiju that's like Manda. Wait, Manda, right?
Yes.
And then you have a submarine. The Monarch submarine's down there. And I was just
missed opportunity.
Dying for it to wrap around. Yeah, I was dying for it to wrap around the sub.
The sub.
But it was really big. The sub was really big.
Did the sub even have to be there?
I don't know.
And the sub was just there to observe, really, right? The sub's job was just to be like, oh, looks like they're gonna have a fight between him and Tiamat.
It's an Antarctica Monarch facility, and so they were probably just monitoring Tiamat.
Oh, that they're always around there?
Yeah. I think that would make sense. Godzilla shows up, and again, like the Godzilla fights are nice and short.
Badass.
As much as I love a Godzilla fight, you don't get monster fatigue in this.
The Tiamat fight is badass. The Tia comes out, I'm like, oh cool, it's Amanda. That's fun. I like that idea. Godzilla like bites a chunk out of him, and then Tiamat does that thing where like, because he's got like the frills around his neck, like the spitter in Jurassic Park, and when he goes after him, the frills wrap around Godzilla's face. But then we get the familiar sound of the charge sound, that vroom, 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 vroom. And then it's like when they have those lights that shine up in the sky to call your attention to a certain location, because like it's just a beam that goes around in like a circle, like a cone-shaped circle through the snow and ice, and then silence, and the surface of the water is just chunks of Tiamat.
Yeah. It's good. It's good because it's not a long drawn out fight. It's probably tops a minute long. But it's so satisfying because you get the stuff you want. You get the sort of Orga hugging Godzilla's face thing. Because at some point Godzilla and Kong are gonna come together, and they're gonna fight Scar King, and it's gonna be a big thing. So it's kind of like what Gareth Edwards did, except we get to see more monster stuff at the beginning. Right. Like it's small vignettes of like Godzilla fighting around the world, but it's enough to where you're like, okay, you're not getting bored by it. And the Tiamat thing where like does Godzilla, sorry, I should have gone. I want to see it again. I should go see it again. Godzilla has the head, right? Tiamat head.
The Tiamat head? I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Does Godzilla drink out of someone's head? That's
the
opening. Does Kong drink out of someone's head?
You're talking about Kong. Later, Kong, there's that lake serpent.
That's right. There's two serpents in this movie.
Yes, a freshwater, a saltwater, and a freshwater.
That's right. How can I forget there's two serpents in this movie?
Yeah, the other
I don't
strip
even
is
know if
pretty
we know
cool.
the Lego
Okay,
one.
so okay, back to Hollow Earth. That's where the feathers are dropping. That's where they come upon the Iwi ruins, and they find the
And then the
carving
Mothra
of
statue.
Mothra in the stone, and they refer to Mothra, queen of the monsters.
Okay, okay. I'm wearing my Mothra hoodie right now. I was wearing my Mothra hoodie at the theater when I saw it. I had no idea Mothra was going to be in this movie. So
Yeah,
just
me
seeing the
either. At first,
and
I go,
just seeing the
cool, a
reference.
Mothra reference, just like a Stone Mothra reference, like the way in the 2014 there's like a picture of a moth in the
Yeah,
classroom, just like a little bit of like, oh,
yeah.
okay,
Or at the end of Skull Island, there's like the cave drawings of Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah and stuff.
yeah,
Like, but I got so excited, and I don't know why, because I was just like just the thought of maybe Mothra showing up, I was like, that's a good surprise. Like I already knew about the glove. I already knew about like Scar King. I knew through the
knew
toys
about
that
Shimu.
Shimu, and I knew about Suko. So I knew about all this stuff. And so just the thought of Mothra
That they kept
possibly
it
getting
secret.
involved. Yeah, I was excited. And there's marketing. There's a marketing shot. There's a shot of Godzilla and Kong in front of the pyramids yelling with
Yeah,
Kong with the gauntlet up that they used in all the marketing.
right.
In the movie, Mothra's in that shot and they just blooped her out of the CG for the
Yeah.
marketing. It's kind of like how they took out the Muto in the shot of in the Godzilla trailers where the doors close while Godzilla does the yell.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh,
But
yeah, it was a
in
different
the
thing then.
movie there's a Motu, so I kind of like that. It's a little bit, it's like, oh, the trailer lied to me, but at least they're giving me more. And I was like, because yeah, there's more monsters in those shots and they're just not telling us, and it's kind of fun. Did you remember that movie Predators? It was Adrian Brody in the trailer of Predators. Adrian Brody standing there, and the little Predator laser beams, the triple laser beams,
Oh, yeah.
they go on Adrian Brody, and there's like 50 of them, and he's freaking out. In the movie, it's I think one.
Oh,
It's only one. So this is the opposite. This is like they're not showing us everything because we didn't, the marketing material didn't have Mothra. But the thought of Mothra in this movie, I just got excited just seeing the stone carving. I wasn't really sure that Mothra would show up, but just seeing it made me happy. Pretty sure I'm a bigger Mothra fan. You're not the biggest Mothra fan, but
between us,
I,
you're probably
yeah,
bigger.
that's
Mother.
what it gets me.
I love Mothra's aesthetics.
Mhm.
I love Mothra's look. I like this Mothra a lot.
Do you want to talk about Mothra?
I like a lot of aspects of Mothra. I don't love the Rebirth movies.
Right.
I appreciate Mothra more than I used to. Mothra is more because I love the look.
Kind of just flies around and sprinkles stuff on. Like
But I was
you want you want it to
in this movie,
grab and
I wanted, what I was saying, I like kind of thinking, I was thinking of like, when Mothra like sacrifices herself. Like there's a sense of like in the Toho Mothra movies, there's always this like the Mothra has to die for the new larva to make the new Mothra and all that kind of business. Okay, so then they do the water bit, and then they come across the membrane, which is very much
yeah,
like the Mothra membrane when Mothra was born in the other movie.
in King of the Monsters.
Yeah, it's very much like that.
And we get the Seatopians. I guess
they,
they're just
they bust
I
through.
just get yeah, I guess they're just Iwi, but could they be Iwi Topians or
There's a great shot of Kong walking with just like his axe over his shoulder, like Paul Bunyan. It's very
oh
kind of that's when they
those
go to the
yeah,
lake,
with the
and
bones.
and he's like, "Oh, drink this water. Here, drink this water. Come over here.
Oh, and
just
Suko's like, yeah, go have some of the
go
just
have
go in
some
here,
water.
have some
Look, we
water.
can splash in this. It's really great."
What a little
And
turd.
then,
I love that Suko's a little turd.
yeah,
Not played for cutesies, is a real real scamp trying to lure Kong into a trap of this serpent. And Kong jacks this thing up. It reminded me of the octopus fight. And just Kong just
It
eating.
reminded me of
head.
there's like the artwork for the '70s Kong where there's a snake wrapped around him.
Yes,
And it was like this. A lot of the visuals reminded me of that.
And then Kong just eating the monster, and there's just like junk hanging out of its mouth.
Yeah, and then later, Scar King has that kind of junk in his mouth. Whatever he seems to be eating the same stuff. Yeah, he throws a piece over to Zuko, and Zuko takes it, and then Zuko decides to go sit closer. That's kind of where Zuko kind of gets won over.
Like, even though Zuko tried to kill Kong in this trap, Kong's like, yeah, whatever. Still be my friend.
Yeah. Well, Zuko's like, you know, I get it. You don't know better. And then same thing, like when Zuko leads him across the skeleton bridge. Did you think that might be another trap too?
Yeah,
like because he's like, yeah, come on, because like it's like no, come on, it's safe.
It looked like Gollum. That's where he looked the most like Gollum. When he's like crawling over that like fantasy landscape, it looked like a heavy metal cover, like a heavy metal the magazine. That monster skeleton was so huge that Kong would like fit in one of the eye sockets. Like, where is the living version of that thing? That thing was huge.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm surprised because I was like, what keeps these bones together? What keeps these bones holding on to each other? You want to at least piece it. Like, I wouldn't mind if like a rib fell as he was crossing it or something like that. It's such a sturdy bridge. Then we get a lot of like narration. There's like Dr. Andrews reading the symbols in the cave, and there's all like the carvings of stories that they talk about Scar King. They give you like, all right, here's the story.
Yeah.
And they describe Godzilla as the monster who ate a star. I think it's just because of the atomic breath, I'm guessing. But it is interesting because then that makes Godzilla because our understanding is Godzilla was born of nuclear power.
Yeah.
Or the atomic era, and it's like, oh no, he ate a star way before that.
Yeah, and the Bikini Beach thing,
right?
Yeah, and that exposition just gets put like she sees the pictures on the wall. It just tells everybody exactly what we need to know.
Here's exactly what this is. By the way,
decipher
and by the way, when you see this other red monkey, you're gonna call him Scar King, just so you know that's his name.
Yeah.
Although Scar's with a K, so it's
not
what you think it is.
I haven't read the toy. I have a Scar King, little blind box Scar King toy.
I got all 3 of the ones that you push the button and their growl. They have their growl. Oh. They have rubber heads, so they'll open their mouth. They'll be like, rah! And Scar King's got the best. Scar King's growl is better than Kong's growl in that thing.
In the toy.
Yeah, that's my only Scar King.
Yeah, what do you think of Scar King in general?
There is something really interesting when he has at the very beginning when Kong shows up, and he has this weird stance where he's like one shoulder's higher than the other, and he's just this kind of weird stance. Mm-hmm. He's got a fun swagger about him. I'm not so Scar King, I'm guessing, has to know that he is outmatched with Kong.
Right.
Just, pound for pound. So he needs to use his special crystal to have Shinu do his work for him.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we get to the Ape Temple of Doom, where Scar King makes all these apes move rocks around. There's
right.
a cool shot of 3 gorilla heads on sticks.
Yeah, what do you think of that? It's off-putting. It's upsetting.
I know, but I know it was upsetting, but it meant to be upsetting. It's very Bram Stoker's Dracula. Like it's very like these are the ones that had to be taught less. So we're entering a bad place.
Yeah.
And all these apes got there's some really, I don't know if it's mocap, but like there's the one ape that drops the rock, and then the guy gives him a hard time, and Kong steps in again, and that ape, the way the face on that ape is great, and how like he's got like a lot of pink in his face, and Yeah, and so like he doesn't like the whoever's like the slave driver of these apes moving rocks.
It almost looked like that it was like a red paint on them, almost like
Well, right.
markings.
Well, there's other, but I'm saying there's other apes that have like a different discolorations where like
Mhm.
instead of a full black or dark gray face or something. Same thing with Kong. Like in the close up, you see there's parts where it's like more like skin tone coming through.
Mhm.
It's just to kind
Yeah,
of apes have
personalities.
different patterns in skin
Yeah,
tone and stuff like that in the same kind of way. Oh yeah, so Khan kicks that guy's ass. The guy who he just
the
like
kind of
knocks
bald
him
one.
out. Like the guy drops and that ape goes after the guy who dropped the rock. Kong just punches him out and just knocks him out with one
Yeah,
punch. Which
yeah.
remind me, by the way, we didn't talk about in the earlier fight with the three gorillas and Soku when the bald guy takes off running. Kong picks up a rock and throws
Oh,
at him and nails him in the head with it
yeah,
perfectly. Doesn't
yeah.
kill him. He guy gets up and keeps going, which is why we need him because he's the guy who then points out Kong to Scar King, being like, "Hey, that's the guy who kicked our ass." And Scar King gets up and gets interested and comes in for the fight.
The whip is kind of cool. I like it's a whip made of bones.
Yeah, they called it something.
The bone whip.
I think they call it the sash whip because he wears it
Yeah,
like a sash.
like a bandolier.
Whip sash.
Shimu's.
Yeah, they call whip sash. It's written as one word. Whip sash.
Oh, okay.
He laughs at the tooth.
Suko's like parent or guardian gets kicked into the lava, which is
Yeah, whoever
pretty
that guy
hard.
was, he definitely had like a relationship with Suko because when he showed up, he was like saying stuff to him. And he was like, "Oh, no, I'm back. What can I do?" And then,
And Suko
and
was like
then,
hiding behind the leg.
yeah, and then he can't. And then Scar King gets between them and then kicks backwards to knock the guy into the fire.
And then
There's just something about Scar King that kind of also gives off like, okay, so Scar King is not. So I guess he's not naturally red. He paints himself red. I guess something like that.
oh,
I'm
really?
assuming. Listen, I mean, but like Suko is like his hair is red, but just because all the like the Imperial Guard of Scar King, they all have like red paint on them.
Yeah.
They're all painted red. So I'm guessing he just dips his whole body in whatever the red is. Maybe it's
Is it
the
the red
same.
paint from
Maybe
the
it's the
thing?
same red paint that the Iwi pour into the liquid metal.
Maybe. I assumed it was blood,
Oh, it could be.
but I don't think blood would stay. It would like oxidize and not stay that red. I like paint. I like paint more. So Shimu.
Shimu comes out. Shimu. Oh, again, by the way, not only is the bone bridge strong, all the chains are made from vertebrae are super strong.
Yeah,
enough
they
to
must be doing something.
enough enough to hold this white dragon in place.
Well, the whiplash thing.
Yeah, he
Could
can
pull a
whip it.
building
He
in
can
half.
whip it like crazy. Oh
Yeah, he
yeah,
could pull a building in half, so it's pretty strong.
right.
You want to talk about Shimu?
Sure.
We saw the toy design ahead of time.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the context was. Shimu could have been like another Doug, as far as I knew.
Yeah.
And you were saying like you're like, oh, it looks like a crawling kaiju, but it's
Yeah. There was
you could
one
tell that
picture of the
it
toy
can.
where it almost looked like he was on his knees. That got me
Yeah,
excited for a moment.
but still, it still walks on all fours, which was cool. It's
Yeah.
a she, and it's like a frost. There's a giant frost monster, which again I don't think we've seen before. Haven't seen anyone that blows ice,
No.
which is fun because like this whole movie's been setting up. Godzilla has atomic breath, and now we have someone with cold breath. So it's like
Yeah.
okay, see
Yeah,
how
and
this
so
works.
yeah, this is where so then and Shimu freezes Kong's arm. It's the whole like he's like he's
Oh
using
yeah,
like the axes, and then his whole arm gets up and frozen, and that's where he gets the frostbite, which is going to then lead us to him getting the
which
glove.
when he got his arm frozen. By this point in the movie, I completely forgot that this is the movie where he has a robotic glove.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, he was getting frozen, and he was like, ah, I'm like, oh, that sucks. And then it like took me like a couple minutes to be like, oh wait, he needed to injure his arm. I
Right.
just assumed seeing all the toys,
Had you not
and
seen?
especially
Did you not see the clip
well,
about him getting the glove beforehand?
no,
Oh, I
No,
came
I remember
across
seeing that.
something that I thought was a trailer for the movie, but it ended up just really kind of like almost like being the clip, like a teaser clip of
Right.
when he gets the Beast glove.
So, well, you were showing me the toy of like these Godzilla toys where they're kind of like not Transformers, but like Mask,
Yeah, that's
where
something
like
else. I think that's
they have little like things that come out
that
and armor.
you flip out pieces of the body, and it's like armor, and yeah, right.
So I kept thinking that Monarch was just like I thought that was going to be the movie where they were going to just start putting shit all over Godzilla, like
Mm,
armor and stuff,
yeah,
and give him lasers. And I'm like, okay. And so I think I assumed that's what they were doing with Kong's glove.
uh huh.
So when it got injured, I wasn't thinking, oh, he needs it. I just assumed, like I thought we are just going to get Godzilla and Kong just retrofitted with all kinds of Mecha Godzilla parts, which
Yeah,
I'm glad they didn't. But
right.
at the same time, like, can we give Godzilla a glove too?
Well, it's like the wanting of the waiting for the Mecha King Ghidorah to show up.
Oh, that's what it is. It's fun seeing the tech attached to like cyborg. They're cyborgs. But I like Shimu. I like the design. Stevie
I
turned to me as soon as Shimu showed up and said, "They better not effing kill Shimu."
Oh, she likes Shibu that much.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, I
I
hope they
wasn't as
don't
crazy about
either.
Shimu.
I felt Shimu was sympathetic because they had her chained up and trapped behind a lava waterfall, a lava fall.
I'm okay.
So
Yeah,
definitely there against its
I
will.
want to save some Shimu. I have something to talk about Shimu, but I want to get to the point when it happens that I go. You see, because
Okay.
I don't want to
Okay.
get into it yet. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I was like, but yes. Uh,
But what about so
Shimu's
Scar
power is
King to me?
cool, and the way
Yeah.
and the whole thing of the way he holds this thing to control Shimu, and Shimu's like suffering because it clearly something hurts him to that, and
Yeah.
he has to do it. The whole thing of the training Shimu is a good premise. Good, I think.
Also, so I'm not like really keen on the Scar King's design. When I got the little blind box toy, I'm like, oh, this guy's like skinny and
He's skinny.
weird, and he's kind of off-putting. But when Scar King got on top of Shimu and was riding Shimu, I'm like, okay, now we're talking.
That looks cool.
Now we're talking. Like
Yeah,
he's so scrawny and he's so like
yeah, and sometimes he has to
outmatched
hold
by
on. Other
Kong.
times he doesn't. He can just kind of like squat like that.
Yeah, yeah,
And the other thing about Scar King is he's kind of he's slightly more missing link. Like he's almost like a next generation compared
yeah.
to like Kong, who's more old school in a way. I think there's something
Right.
that Scar King is supposed to be a closer to human giant
Yeah.
than Kong
I think
is.
once I got the idea, or once I noticed that like Scar King's whole thing was he's kind of a twerp and he's kind of just an a-hole, I
Yeah.
started getting into the design more.
Also, by the way, again, this is part of like the theory how like it's like because he had cloudy eyes too. I was like, all the bad guys have cloudy eyes, but I guess I mean it seems like they're in the darkness. They're down where they are, and that
Oh
comes
yeah.
up. That comes
In
up later when
Hollywood.
they end up in Rio. Okay, so Godzilla has been in Tiamat's lair, absorbing energy
Oh
that comes from some kind of like solar pulses or some kind of thing like that.
yeah. Some nonsense. Yeah. Sure.
Uh, and then emerges
What do you think
pink.
of this design?
I love it. He's pink, a la Millennium Godzilla, which is cool. He is so
Yeah.
glowy. He's even more glowy now than when he had sucked up all the stuff from the nuclear power plant, and it's even coming out of his eye holes.
Yeah.
That like it's like steaming through his eye holes was cool.
Oh man, when he started swimming through the water and the water was boiling behind him, that was the coolest. I thought that was so awesome.
It actually set up like it kind of sets up it could lead to a destroyer type of situation where
Right.
there could be a moment where it gets too much.
Where it's melting down. Which maybe the next one, I feel like I'm so excited because this movie they're definitely gonna make.
There's a
another one.
part where Soku Suko, man, people are gonna get annoyed with us.
I know what I did. I thought of Danny Zuko
Okay,
from Greece, so that
okay.
helped me remember that it's Danny Zuko.
There's a part where when Kong is hurt, and he kind of like grabs his hand and kind of puts it on his shoulder. And I'm like, he's way down there. How the hell? He's not putting any weight on Suko to help him walk.
Yeah,
But then this is where he gets he comes, he finds the people, and
the moment
they
with
check
Gia,
out his hand, and then he goes, "Oh, I'm gonna go and go get the beast glove."
which Brian Tyree knew about that project, right? Or was it?
Did he?
Was it
No, Rebecca Hall
Cracker?
explained it to him. I thought
Okay.
it was
This
but they
sequence,
knew that it was a project that got canceled because they're like, why would we want to make kaiju more powerful? But the prototype was already sent to Hollow Earth.
too late, already made. Which again, at that moment, I was like, they gave us so much information without dragging it out. It
Project
wasn't a whole,
Powerhouse, it was called.
yeah, it was already something that was set in motion because of Mechagodzilla, and it was just one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, we happen to have this thing, it might work. We didn't have to sit through a
Yeah,
whole
Deus
like,
Ex
a
Machina kind of. Yeah.
montage of them building it. Like they didn't have to wait months to get it completed.
There
It
was a
wasn't like,
montage. There was like the lab
well,
and blueprints. One of the Easter eggs. They said the blueprints is like as a Jaeger blueprint from
oh,
Pacific Rim. I
Pacific
think
Rim.
it's Gypsy Danger's arm.
I didn't see that. That's awesome. But it's but it goes so quick. It's like, oh, we already have this thing.
Right.
And so it happened so quick where it wasn't a whole drawn out thing. It's like, oh,
And
we
it's
got
and
it.
it's
Here
one
it
of those
comes.
things that the machine knows what to do. It's like the Iron Man suit. It lands on his arm. It immediately
Clamp.
clasps around him and does the whole thing, and then
And then the Kiss music, the music from Kiss during that
well, yeah,
sequence
when he's flying it in, yeah. I
was
was
my
made.
it was
Yeah,
my
yeah.
favorite needle drop. I went and I immediately like listened, like on the way back from the theater. Me and Stevie listened to that on the way back. I was so pumped up because I'm like, they're just getting it out of the way. It's like, oh yeah, he needs a glove in this movie, and it wasn't like super like this whole thing where you like, it wasn't taken seriously. It wasn't like, oh, this is so badass. Look at this thing. It's like, no, we got this thing. Here it is. Bring it in. That's cool. We're not going to dwell on it. We're just going to go immediately see it in action. And every time Kong did like a fist bump with it or raised it up in the air, like, was my favorite stuff. I I don't know. It was like the Breakfast Club, the ending of the Breakfast Club.
Oh yeah.
where
People,
he kept
there's
putting
something
the
that said they compare it to. There's a gorilla raising his fist in the air in the Primal Rage video game box.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay,
Talk about
now it's probably
the
my
Rock of
favorite part.
Gibraltar, the Rock of
Yeah.
Gibraltar, and
Yeah,
Pyramids.
so they say Kong, we need help. Kong knows that means I have to go get Godzilla to come and team up with me. And so Kong goes up and lands in Cairo, Egypt. Shows up in one. There's another one of these like portals there,
Right.
and Godzilla is standing in the rocket drill, and it's like he can see him.
It's
He's
pretty
like
far.
that mother. I know it is pretty far. I actually looked it up on the map, but they're really close to. It's like that mother,
He's high.
and jumps in the water. Like, I gotta have to go kick his ass.
I loved it. That dive into the ocean where it's just the shot looking up into the air, like stretched out, doing like a perfect dive. I think that's when the water was boiling behind him.
And then again, it gives us another moment where he jumps out of the water. I think him coming out of the water always looked really cool.
Yeah. They figured out how to make Godzilla emerge from stuff in these movies. Like the best stuff of Monarch Legacy of Monsters was
When he comes up out of the
coming out of
sand.
the mountain. Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So let's talk about this fight. This was some of my favorite panic, my favorite crowd panic, where the people on the steps of the
like
of the
tourists and
pyramid.
stuff. This is also
Yeah,
like this is the moment when I wrote the note. See, we can't have nice things. Like Godzilla's breaking the Colosseum, the Pantheon. Now they destroy the pyramids.
yeah, they just level them. A Kong throws sand in Godzilla's eyes.
Yeah.
And I love that Kong kept looking back at the portal to see if he can get Godzilla over there to fall in with him.
Yeah. Vertical suplex, Godzilla to
Yeah.
Kong.
I mean, the theater went crazy.
Full on pro wrestling.
The theater was full of dudes that were like 20 years older than me and 20 years younger than me. And at that moment, everybody cheered. It was great.
Oh, but actually, before we even did that, because Mothra, she had to go get Mothra too.
Mothra appears, yeah.
She went and got Mothra because Mothra has to appear at this thing. But
I like the coloring more than the King of the Monsters version.
and
The
how
King of
she
the Monsters
unfurls
shoots
and
kinda
just
bluish.
glitters out.
I loved it. No
It was
traditional
exciting.
Mothra sounds, but I did like the sounds they.
Yeah, I liked. Oh, okay. So there's also. So then Kong gets the upper hand on Godzilla and just starts beating him hard with the power glove. Just
Yeah.
bam, 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 and then he's dragging him by his tail. The I think one of the inspirations for that fight was the They Live fight, by the way.
Oh.
And again, it's that because at this point, Godzilla charges up, shoots breath, and at this point, if the pyramids weren't destroyed yet, they're definitely destroyed because they're basically sliced in half. And Godzilla stomps on Kong, starts charging up
To do that.
and that's when Mothra comes in and blasts Godzilla, and
This shot-
tells him to chill out. He's like, Mothra's like the person who comes in between two people fighting in a bar. He's like, hey, come on, and then Gia's there, and Godzilla's gotta be like,
Was this the point where Godzilla and Kong just like kind of look back and forth, like you're waiting for them to talk to each other, like in Godzilla versus Gigan, where they're just staring because there's no people in the scene. It's these three monsters, and we know what needs to be done, but
No, but it's
a
Gia.
shot of Godzilla's
no,
face.
Gia's there. Gia shows up, and she's like, she has her hand out, and Godzilla's looking at her, and she's like the Godzilla whisperer, like she can just kind of like calm Godzilla down, and so now they dump the red paint in the thing, the whole whatever the explanation of like EV technology, blah blah blah,
This is the first time we've seen
to mess up the gravity.
Yeah.
And okay, so
Well,
and then
here's
the
the
trapper
thing.
goes, "Hey, I got an idea. I'm gonna go get some reinforcements." And they're like, "What? Who
Yeah, that was great.
How do you?" And he's like, "No, don't worry. I got some really. My idea is way weirder." He says something like that. And then,
Pretty weird, but the fact that they're like the plan is for them to touch the tips.
that makes it happen. That makes it, yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about this gravity fight, because at
Yeah.
this moment in the movie,
So-
while I was watching this unfold, I thought to myself, well, there's a little bit before the gravity fight.
Wait,
This
yeah,
was the point
because
in my
like,
head-
because what happens is before the tips touch, they try and prevent it from happening by building it up with ice,
Yeah. Godzilla
and
is
it's
running-
Godzilla. Yeah, Godzilla's running towards Shimu and Scar King. Kong is
Kong.
running along and kind of hitches a little bit of a ride on Godzilla to propel himself forward, and that's the
was
double jump where they're both in slow motion jumping towards each other. Is just such a great.
That's one of my favorite things.
And just as they're about to connect is when they pretty much come together and throw off all the gravity, right?
Okay. So at this point in the movie, in my head, my thought was, oh boy, how's Jorge going to take this? Because it is weird. And it is nuts.
The floating fight?
What'd you think of the floating fight?
I was fine with it. I liked it was because like the way because like Scar King kind of figured it out fast. As
Yeah.
I can push off with these rocks. But my favorite part was Mothra using like spitting webs and just basically gluing gorillas to rocks.
Yeah. This is the first time we've seen Mothra and Kong in the same movie. In the long history of these movies, we've seen Godzilla and Kong a few times, but we've never seen Mothra and Kong. And so I was like, oh, this is really fun. Seeing Mothra taking out apes, like that's I haven't seen that before.
There's a great moment where someone's going after Kong and Suko throws a rock at the guy and knocks him out, and then Kong gives Suko like a look and like kind of like nice moves, kid, kind of thing. It's really goofy.
Like Mean Joe Green.
I loved Shimu freezes Godzilla, and then Godzilla breaks the ice off. It's quite.
So it doesn't affect Godzilla as much as
No.
Kong. It is setting up the fact that like when it comes to this four-way fight, that Scar King is going to go against Kong and Godzilla is going to go against Shimu. Like that's how it's set up.
Yeah,
like that
in a proper gentleman's fight.
Yeah, but it kind of just goes all over the place.
It does because then they end up in Rio, right? They go through. Right. So Scar King goes out to the portal because his whole goal was to get to the surface, and so he gets up there. Now this I didn't understand until I was reading about it in the description. So when he lands on the beach, this is the frozen wave. Shimu and Scar King lands in the sand, and it's too bright. So he commands Shimu to block out the sun by shooting his beam straight up into the sky. I didn't understand that's what was happening. I don't know why. Sometimes I go, I don't know why you're shooting at the sky, but okay, whatever. And then the fight happens. It's great. And it was what I liked about it also was like, oh, good. We also get a destroyed buildings fight. Like these are modern buildings getting destroyed. There's a great one point where Scar King, he takes his whipsash, he whips it around a chunk of building, yanks the chunk of building off, and hucks it towards. I'm guessing Kong. I don't even remember now. Yeah. It's so busy, this fight.
It's really busy, and that's the only thing I think you really texted me about was that was really busy.
The busy was just like there's so many monsters in this. Really.
It's the four monsters, and then Suko. Mothra, I don't think comes into this fight. What's great too about it is like there's a lot of chaos going on. There's Godzilla versus Scar King. There's Scar King versus
I got it. I got it here. The piece of the building, and then Kong punches the building and it breaks. There's a part where I think Shimu is biting Kong's glove and dragging him around by the fist.
But it's never really confusing. Like the action, it didn't like confuse me like a Transformers movie. Like all the action was really cool. There's a part where Scar King is just dragging Kong's face through buildings.
Yeah.
And the camera's just following Kong's face. Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Godzilla manages to bust the sash whip and the crystal ding 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 falls off.
Like Temple of Doom style, trying to
There's the whole thing trying to reach for it, trying to grab it. Yeah. It ends. Oh, so Kong left his axe. Because he uses the axe to kind of slow down his descent, and it got stuck. He let go, and so his axe was stuck in the side of the wall. So Suko pulls it off and brings it to him to the surface. When Suko shows up, he's got the axe, and Suko ends up breaking the controlling crystal for Shimu.
And Shimu's like, wait, where
And
am
there's
I?
this moment when then suddenly,
But because it's a kaiju, Shimu's a kaiju, she still's like, oh, I need to fight these other people.
but till there's a moment when okay, so Kong throws Scar King at Godzilla, and Godzilla tail whips him back at him, and holding Scar King, Shimo gets kind of like the signal or figures it out and freezes Scar King. Close up Scar King's eye movement, knowing he is still alive there.
Yes.
Kong smashes Scar King into tons of chunks. Now, later on, after Godzilla shoots the sky and reopens up everything, all those frozen Scar King chunks are going to come back to room temperature. And there's so much it's like when they blow up a whale. It's going to be just a stinky beach for so long, waiting or trying to clean up all the Scar King pieces.
I mean, they have flying ships and stuff. Maybe Trapper can go in there and use his flying dentist hook to go start cleaning stuff out. I didn't think about there being thawed out chunks. That's pretty gross. Yeah. I do like that Scar King's eye was still moving.
Yeah. His cloudy eye.
Because I'm like, well, if he's already frozen and dead, like, who cares if it gets cracked in half? But him knowing that was going to happen it was satisfying.
Yeah, like if he hadn't.
I feel like there's a different cut of this movie where Scar King's crumbly body is more gross. In a movie full of
goop he's not frozen yet,
blood. Well, no, he had
to be frozen for him to shatter. He had to shatter.
Yeah, but I feel like there was probably
I forgot there's that movie. I haven't seen it. I have to find it. I wonder if it's a streamable now. That one about what to do with the dead kaiju movie.
Oh yeah,
I forgot about it. I'm gonna have to go find it. So then the triumphant return, right? Oh, Godzilla goes back to bed.
Where is Rio in connection to Rome? It's not that close.
It's an ocean away, but Godzilla.
But still, like Godzilla liked the Coliseum so much as a sleeping spot. He's like, okay, yeah, that's a good spot.
Yeah, well, there's nowhere to lay down on Christ the Redeemer. He only likes landmarks. He only likes big giant monuments.
Do you think Gio would have gone to Kong and mentally told Kong to go pick up all the chunks?
No. Is that Kong? No, they're not. Clearly, the kaiju aren't about cleanup. They're not destruction in their wake. You know what I was wondering? I was wondering if they contemplated possibly not having subtitles for the sign language.
The way Rebecca Hall would kind of mouth.
Yeah, how she would say, "You what?" Yeah, she was kind of like doing both parts in a way. Or maybe that was just kind of like for
kids.
For in the acting of it.
It made me want to learn American Sign Language. Kind
of give the other side of.
Is it American Sign Language? International Sign Language?
It's American Sign Language. There's languages of other countries that are different or slightly different. I don't know exactly how much different. Yeah. So here's my thing about Shimu.
Okay.
It's the notion of like, okay, so some kaiju get the respect of being an equal, but Shimu is an ancient kaiju, like, and even older than Godzilla Kong, it seems, but Shimu is a pet. Like, there's a part where Godzilla's like tickling under Shimu's neck because that's how Shimu likes it. Who knows? And the same thing, like riding Shimu like a horse. It's like there's like the pet kaiju, and then the ones that are like they get like the full reverence.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like Dino from the Flintstones versus like a talking warthog garbage disposal.
It's like It's like the goofy Pluto dilemma.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how that works. You know, you have the characters like Doug who are just like a monster who will eat wolves.
Yes.
Then you have the wolves who like think in a pack.
I sometimes when stuff because like Soku's big but not as big as Kong.
Right. Every time Suko showed up, I tried to see how
Suko.
tall it was compared to the trees.
Oh yeah,
Like, I
they're
would see,
saying
like, palm trees and
There's
stuff.
someone was saying that Suko is still as small as Suko is still bigger than Kong was in Skull Island.
That seems crazy to me.
Doesn't it? Also, Suko walking amongst the trees really kind of made the trees look like miniatures in a way, and that I kind of liked. It kind of like it felt a bit like an old movie. But one thing, like I liked, I just wish this is unrelated exactly to the movie, but after having bought the toys without seeing the movie and now watching the movie, I go, man, I kind of wish that they did that striation of the lines in like the Godzilla skin, how the glow was in the details like that. But I think that's just too hard to make in those type of mass market kinds of toys. Because I liked how it was like the same way, like the Shin style of it cracking through the skin.
This made me want Super 7 style figures of these characters and Scar King and Suko and all these guys, because I just want like little tiny versions. I don't want the big. There's shelf space.
Yeah,
Would be just too much for everything in here.
yeah, I hear you.
Like I want a Parrot Frog and Doug 2-pack.
Man, I just realized that I just reached into my office garbage can and my kid threw away one of my Planet of the Apes gorillas and Elvis Migos. And I was throwing papers on top of it. Like I would have possibly dumped that garbage out without having noticed that a couple toys were thrown in there by the kid at one point.
I never really had a garbage can at my desk, but I do now.
Oh right, the popcorn bucket.
The Godzilla.
Is it metal?
Popcorn bucket. It's
Is
metal.
it metal? Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and it says Godzilla, Kong, New Empire, and then it's got like in pink, Godzilla and Kong.
And it's like embossed. It's like ridges. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
It looks good. Yeah, I was like, man, when I sit and I think about, do you remember when I was like, I think I'm kind of done with the buying of the toys. I think I'm kind of found like an end point and I can just kind of settle until so many cool toys had come out since then. When I sit and I go, man, there was that one Godzilla that was like Destroyer and he was like bones and melting. And translucent plastic, and then I got all those chibi style Godzillas and Minias and
the Super 7s. Did you get the Godzilla
Super
that
7
lights up? It shoots the mist out of its mouth?
Not yet.
Yeah,
but I believe I'm getting it for my birthday.
Oh, sweet.
And I got the Godzilla skeleton that came with the oxygen destroyer. That was Super 7, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool looking. That one was a leave in the box one because it just looks good. Laying down.
I got the cup at the movie theater that has this Godzilla topper on it. It's like a super
right
stylized Godzilla.
Chubby.
It's fun.
Oh, by the way, yeah, we were just I mentioned something to you before I saw the movie. And the movie kind of sets it up. Like when I was like going, do you think they're holding on to the title King Kong for something in the future? And then you said, I think it's a legal thing, which really bummed me out. Because Kong's triumphant return definitely feels in a way that they could make him king.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn.
They dance around it.
Yes. Yeah, and so then you announced there was a King Kong series announced.
Disney Plus.
Oh, by the way, did you know there was a King Kong Barbie? I didn't. I when I was like looking up merch, is
it in the shape of King Kong?
No,
or
it's a Fay Ray. It's a Fay Ray, but in the box, the box is molded plastic to look like a hand. Oh, not Fay Ray. Maybe it's not even Fay Ray. Maybe it's Jessica Lange. Even who knows?
No, I'm looking at it now.
Oh no, it is the old movie.
Yeah, it's the old movie, but it's like a molded plastic hand.
Yeah, it's a molded plastic. Like that's another one to keep in the box. Oh, hold on, I got another toy I want to show you. 1 second.
You can get it. $45 used.
It's the Kong beating on Scar King.
That's cool. With all the spikes coming out, all the
Yeah.
Fortress of Solitude stuff. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. It's cool looking.
I like Kong's beard. It reminds me of mine. It's especially right now. It's very white and long. I think the beard looks good on Kong.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of it in the last one.
Yeah.
Wonder if they cut it for him. All right.
Yeah, it was a lot. This movie was a lot.
It was a lot, but I had a blast. And it made me excited for more because the movie did well, I think, over the weekend and worldwide. And
like 80 million, I think, the first weekend. I was like, oh, good.
Oh, I saw this online. I don't know if you noticed this, and it gave me hope for the future, which I don't think it's going to happen. But when Godzilla's in Rome, there is a graffitied wall with a Godzilla on it that Godzilla steps on.
Right.
Amongst the graffiti is a
I heard
fist.
this too. Oh, go on.
Is a fist, and underneath it says "punch, punch, punch," which is Jet Jaguar's theme song. And if you look at the fist, it looks like Jet Jaguar's arm, the like segmented gauntlet.
Ooh, but I also heard there's also a Hedora eye in the graffiti.
There's Hedora eyes, and then there was something else. The turtle skeleton.
Yeah,
is on there. Like I saw a screenshot of that. Yeah.
Oh, there was something about the turtle skeleton being artwork on crew gifts, like crew gift sweatshirts. They used that as the thing. I don't know. I feel like it doesn't necessarily mean anything. I think it's just.
Are we gonna get like? I want like Pacific Rim.
Meets.
But not necessarily. Like, I don't know where Pacific Rim when it happens, but I would like to see maybe the origins of Pacific Rim. Like they make the first Jaeger and it's Jet Jaguar, but I haven't seen. Cool. Stevie just giggled from the other room.
Jet Jaguar
she heard me say that
is the prototype.
Yeah. You know what? I just want Jet Jaguar. Because Jet Jaguar's been in 3 things: Godzilla vs. Megalon, that weird Monster Island short thing that they've been putting up on YouTube, and then Godzilla Singular Point. But what
is Godzilla Singular Point?
Have you watched it?
No.
Did you try watching it? I watched the whole thing. I got way into it.
Jet Jaguar's so really weird looking. Everyone looks weird in that movie. Is it a movie? Is it a series?
It's a series, and I really enjoyed it. It's very sci-fi.
There's a toy for Godzilla and single point. What is it called?
Singular Point.
Singular Point. He's got like his head's almost like a thick snake head. There's super thick.
That's based on like a drawing of an ancient like scroll with a sea monster. It's okay. So the Rodan look weird. They have like almost like a pelican swoop beak.
Okay.
But all of these creatures evolve throughout the series. Jet Jaguar is made by some dude who like is just in like a junkyard. Like the Jet Jaguar isn't the Jet Jaguar we know. He's like cobbled together.
He's got like a round body.
He's got a big old body with like
long
arms and legs.
Yeah.
It's a tough sell. I watched the whole series and I very much enjoyed it.
Okay.
And
what's it on? What'd you watch it on?
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
And it has like all the monsters have the real monster sounds. So like Rodan sounds like Rodan, and Godzilla sounds like Godzilla, and Jet Jaguar sounds like Jet Jaguar. If you can get through the first episode and just be like, okay, and then give the second episode a shot, and you might start getting into it. Because here's the thing: the monster designs are weird, but it's still giant monsters.
Yeah,
like I definitely liked it more than the Netflix animated movies.
Oh, okay, that's a good sign.
But I mean, it's up to you. It's a different flavor for sure. But if you're hankering for giant monsters, it's a good one. They talk about the red tide, like the Rodan. There's a bunch of Rodan, and they come flying in, and behind them there's this red the sea just turns to blood. Like there's
Whoa.
weird stuff in it, but I recommend it.
Is it
I should probably
just
give
a
it-
self-standing? Is it like when they used to
Yeah.
do like the ultimate cartoons where like, all right, nothing here is canon. It's just
Mhm.
us playing
Yeah.
these characters in another way.
There's like no reference of Godzilla in 1954. It's just like, here's this whole different chunk of, it's weird. It's really weird, but I really enjoyed it. But it does take getting used to. The Rodan is the first stuff you really see, and they look so different, but they sound like Rodan. But the stuff they do, you're like, oh, this is kind of cool, because it's just pterodactyl creatures. But again, it evolves into a more classic look, and Godzilla is like a sea creature that turns into a more classic look. You just kind of have to like, it's like the Roland Emmerich one,
Okay.
where you're like, I mean, it doesn't feel like Godzilla, but it's a giant lizard. Like if
Right.
you just told me this is a giant iguana, then I'd be like, oh, this is fun. I mean, I don't know, dude. It's, if you feel like watching or don't, I think it's like half-hour episodes or 20-minute episodes. I don't think they're very long. It's weird.
Well, all right. Well,
It's weird.
if I get around to it, I'll report back.
100%. You don't have I'm not like, it's not like, dude, you have to see that. It's like, yeah, if you get around to it, just know it exists.
Yeah, I know.
Put it on
Yeah.
to watch list somewhere.
It's like when I look at like going, whenever I go looking on the internet, I go like, what's this? Why does this look so? It's singular point. That explains it.
I mean, watch it and then you'll know. I don't
Yeah.
think you'll run out and get any of the toys.
No.
But maybe there might be a Rodan one you would like. It's interesting takes. It's interesting takes.
Alright.
And by the time I finished watching, I'm like, oh, I was very entertained.
That's cool.
It's fun. It's fine. They're short episodes. I don't think there's a lot of them, but I definitely don't. It's a hard recommend. You got anything else? Are we going to talk top 5? I mean, from the beginning, I don't think this was ever going to be in the conversation for top 5.
No, it doesn't crack it. No,
When it comes to Monsterverse movies, which I believe there are 5 of now, would you rank it? Where would you rank it in the 5 Monsterverse movies?
Oh man, I haven't.
For me, I put it at like 3. I liked it more than Godzilla vs. Kong. I liked it more
What's
than
your one?
King of the Monsters. It wavers between Godzilla and Skull Island.
The first two?
Yeah, I've been rewatching Godzilla, the Gareth Edwards one. I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny because that movie has he's like, okay, every shot has to be from a vantage point where a human camera could be.
Right.
And then this movie's like, we're gonna
It's
float
definitely
around
in
Kong's
yeah,
face.
it's definitely I think this ranks high for me in the legendary ones.
It feels like a 70s Godzilla movie in that it's just crazy.
Oh, another thing that they wanted to look, they said that we wanted it to look like an 80s toy commercial.
The music in it the score sounded 80s. Like I loved everything. I
think that the huge color splashes were just so cool.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's just like they just it's like why don't we just paint these cliffs with streaks of blue and pink and yellow and stuff? And I was like going, oh, that's kind of cool looking. It just everything was really vibrant. That parrot frog, the colors of that super red when it's like when it's riding its bubble. It's riding his bubble for a second, and then it's this 3 is pretty good. 2 or 3 even maybe. It's interesting when you go like you get a movie like this where you get all the monsters you want, and you got to remind yourself that remember the first time we came back to Godzilla, they were hiding him from us for a lot of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
They were hiding him on television sets. And they were hiding him, and like there's so many different like other ways to see him, or like you're about to see him, and then it cuts away, and then you'd hear what he did, and then I Skull Island though,
It's
also because it's got that Apocalypse Now coloring and stuff. I don't know. I'd have to do. I haven't rewatched any of these.
I rewatched all of them before watching this one.
That's what
and I've been liking. I've been liking the original Godzilla more and more. It's so restrained. It's so not.
It is super restrained.
It's the opposite. It's the opposite of this.
It is super restrained, but we got to remember but it was free to be restrained because we were in a Godzilla drought that suddenly, Godzilla in the movie theaters. And like the whole, like the experience of when we first saw 2014, it was that first time when he charges up and you went, oh yeah, I forget he charges up.
But now he's like charging up like 5 times a movie, and
now
it's so funny.
And the cooldown time is much shorter now that he's pink.
But what's funny is they don't like that wasn't never really a thing before that movie. Like you would see his back light up and he would shoot stuff immediately.
Yeah.
But like when Gareth Edwards made that charging up the back and you just see it in the fog, like
and that he needs to reset. Yeah.
Yeah. But now it's like you even
the
see
anticipation.
that -1.
Yeah.
Now it's like an event.
That they exactly the way they each like between the Toho Studio ones and the Legendary ones where it's like they inform each other where then Toho goes, oh, how about the spike starts shooting outwards.
That's still my favorite moment in like all of these movies was when it started charging up because like with the Roland Emmerich movie, he didn't do the fire breath.
No.
And so in this one, it was so grounded in like an actual like real world setting where it's boots on the ground. You're following characters that are like at Godzilla's feet. You forget that it's going to have that Godzilla has the ability to shoot fire breath. And they left it out of the marketing.
Yeah.
And just you can see the tail wrapped around kind of the building, like the street, and they're just seeing it light up. Boom. Boom, 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 and then into the fog. Oh my gosh! You're like, it's like,
you
can do it.
You know it just at the right moment to get excited about it, and then you get it. Really, it was really good.
Yeah. But by this point, 5 movies in, you're like, okay, we don't have much more of those kind of things we could pull off, so we'll just go big. It's just Godzilla does fire breath in like the first fight at the beginning.
Yeah, it's like his go-to. I'm just gonna fire breath this guy and get rid of it.
Yeah. I'm gonna shoot fire down his face.
Like it's like Indiana Jones with the gun against the sword guy. It's like damn it, I'm just gonna fire breath this guy and get back to sleep.
Well, I don't know what's gonna happen in the next one. Mecha King Ghidorah, because I don't know. I wish Hollywood would have like an Angulus.
Is there any work?
They have to. It did really well over the weekend.
I mean, they haven't announced anything though yet.
No, but I am assuming
they're going to just keep the legacy.
I'm fine with Adam Wingard coming back if he's going to just make it more crazy.
Yeah, I think so. I think I do like him being in charge of it. He's definitely making fun movies.
Yeah, and then he's I guess a fan of Destroy All Monsters, so let's go.
That's what we're waiting for.
Just start bringing him in, like just have him drop in from space. Like a Gigan would be nuts.
A Gigan would be super nuts. I mean, Gigan is
But I'm trying to think who do we not have?
He's just one of my favorites.
Anguirus is not or hasn't been in this. Like he could have been in Hollow Earth easy because he's dinosaur.
And I also just really want to see a Baragon.
The ears.
Because the Baragon's got there's Baragons where he's upright, there's Baragons where he's on all fours. Like he does both.
Because we've had Rodan, we've had Mothra, King Ghidorah. Like it's time to just unleash them all.
Yeah, I was like, I would rather as much as I would trade Shimu and Scar King for a reworking of someone that we know existed.
Baragon and King Caesar.
They wouldn't fit with the storyline,
right?
But I don't think they need to keep inventing new monsters because it was just so exciting for King Ghidorah to happen,
right?
And Mechagodzilla. That was exciting to kind of be like, all right, even though we're like, I don't love the mecha design or King Ghidorah is kind of goofy, but at least the middle head is. But it's still just kind of fun seeing it done with newer effects and just.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm ready for the next one. I kind of wrote this one off too before going into it because I liked Godzilla versus Kong, but I wasn't like hankering for more of that. But we got
You should definitely see it
just
again, I
kind of a
think,
better flavor.
because I
Yeah,
think you'll like it the second viewing a lot.
yeah,
I felt like after it sunk in for 2 days, and I was like, I want to go see this again now.
yeah. I want to see it
And
again.
it's fun to watch the second time, and you can really sit back and just enjoy it even more.
I feel like Godzilla X Kong Destroy All Monsters is a great title. Let's do it. Right?
Now you want the cop movie. Now you
Yeah.
want the buddy cop movie.
Yeah. It needs to be something that threatens both Earth and Hollow Earth.
No, but like Godzilla leading an army of apes
Yeah.
from Hollow Earth to.
Yeah, I don't know, but I want
And
more.
I want a Mothra
more.
sacrifice. I want a Mothra, and like, don't worry, she will be reborn. Kind of. I wanted a thing like
larva.
that, where like it's like the Phantom, the Ghost Who Walks, where like the whole thing that Mothra is all about. You know, the circle of life, and like she's, you know,
The memories pass on.
she gives, sacrifices herself only to be born again in the next, you know.
Yeah.
And like, I think that would be cool too. Man, I feel like we've been talking forever.
It's been 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's been a long one. I'm sure we'll be back with something eventually.
Something's gonna have to show up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll see how to take care of a dead kaiju.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we'll like that. I don't know. But I'm excited. This movie made me very happy. I want to see it again. So yeah, that's all I got. Not top 5 worthy, but a whole lot of fun. You know, there's a lot of top 5 movies that aren't in the top 5 that are fun, and it definitely reminded me of like a 70s Godzilla movie where it's just like, okay, we're gonna go crazy. Yeah. So I don't have anything else to say.
All
You
right.
want to until next time? I am going to, I don't know, go into Hollow Earth and not age.
All right. I'm gonna go lay down in the
Man,
Coliseum.
that's a good one. That's such a good one.
Go take a nap in
That's
the
a good one.
Coliseum. I thought you were gonna take it. I was scared you were gonna steal it from me.
No, that's a good one. I should have thought of that like weeks ago. All right.
All right, later.